This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Roll. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, residents in the Southern District and neighboring communities say that they are still faced with foul odors which they believe to be emanating from the industrial park. An independent environmental study was carried out by PAHO and WHO last year, and recommendations were made on the way forward. Tonight, the Minister for Grand Bahama is explaining the steps now being taken to ensure residents in the mentioned areas are safe. Sabrina Brown has details.
Year-round monitoring of communities surrounding the industrial park is one of two recommendations made by the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization in their assessment report. Minister for Grand Bahama Dr. Michael Darville says a device has since been put in place to monitor the air in the Southern District and surrounding areas.
It is called an e-nose. It is utilized in many industrial areas in Holland and in Europe, whereby you install these devices that are very sensitive, that can pick up various different chemicals in the atmosphere and record them digitally in order to determine exactly what is emitted into the air. What is interesting with the device is the device also have a wind direction, which can determine exactly the direction the chemical or what is emitted is coming from.
Minister Darville says the device is a state-of-the-art system and monitoring is ongoing.
What we do on a continuous basis is collect data of what's being emitted in the air around the industrial sector. We had a group which is called the Common Vent Group, and this is similar type of device. It's an air-nose device. It's a portable one that you can carry around, and what it is all digital and it's wireless. And so this collects the information, processes the information, and sends it to your computer where you could determine exactly what is being emitted into the air.
Last week, the Antia group out of the Netherlands visited Grand Bahama to conduct a safety assessment, which completes the recommendations outlined in the PAHO and WHO report.
When they're completed and their report is presented, we would have completed the recommendations of the PAHO WHO report, and we will keep the residents of Pindus Point, Lewis Yard, and surrounding areas, and by extension the entire island of Grand Bahama, completely informed of what we're doing and what we are doing to improve the way how we monitor the industrial sector on the island of Grand Bahama. And whatever recommendations are made from the safety perspective, we will speak directly with our partners at the Grand Bahama Port Authority to try to find ways to implement recommendations as outlined by the safety report.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
In other news, there appears to be a delay in the final severance pay for displaced employees of the former Treasure Bay Casino. The payout was slated to begin this morning at the Treasure Bay Casino in Lucaya, but when our news team arrived at the scene, no one was there, and we later learned that the displaced workers would be given notice when the checks would be ready. Now, we contacted officials for clarification. However, they did not offer a comment. Now, last week, the Ministry of Tourism issued a statement noting that the former employees would receive their final checks today and that those checks would be calculated in accordance with the country's labor laws. The minister also invited the former casino workers to apply for employment with the new operators who are expected to be named soon. The casino is projected to commence operations in April. In other news, the voter registration drive continues on Grand Bahama, and Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner Reno Smith says since last Thursday, the countdown now stands at just under 20,000 registered voters on Grand Bahama.
Numbers have increased tremendously. We are happy to report that Grand Bahama is nearly 75% registered, and last week we were in the top 10. We had 3 of our constituencies in Grand Bahama who were in the top 10 registered constituency nationwide. And so we've seen a significant increase.
Now, Smith is making another appeal to Bahamians who are eligible to vote.
Come on out, register, leave here with your card in hand. Persons need cards for more than one reason. They need them for identification. We want to make sure everybody's information is correct. Again, We don't want you to wait for the last minute for us to have to scotch up your cards because of human error and fatigue. Come in now.
Switching gears now, the Invest Grand Bahama Department of the Grand Bahama Port Authority investing in the business community once again. A free training workshop was this morning to address one of the key factors of operating any successful business. Megan Shepard was there.
It was a packed house at the Pelican Bay Resort as the Grand Bahama Port Authority hosted a customer service workshop under their new campaign, My Grand Bahama. Business Development Officer Glendia Sweeting says this is their first initiative since the campaign launched last week, and the aim is to improve customer service throughout the island.
We would have invited persons from across the island of Grand Bahama to offer a free customer service training workshop. We want persons to learn and understand what good customer service is and to be able to recognize and respond to poor customer service. So we're giving them transferable skills today and giving them the opportunity to be able to gain a wealth of knowledge in the area of customer service, and we're hoping that they would take that information back to their organizations and then, begin to teach others and allow the information to transfer in that way.
Sweeting says the company anticipated some 100 persons, but the turnout grew to 160. She says this speaks well to the interests of businesses here on Grand Bahama.
That bodes well for the Grand Bahama community because that means that more than just the Port Authority realizes this is important. Everyone on the island now realizes that we have some work to do when it comes to customer service. And so we're trying to respond to that. We have been accommodating them as best we can. We have businesses from across the island, not just the city of Freeport, straight across the island. We have teachers, we have doctors, we have nurses, we have customs and immigration officers, we have police officers. The Ministry of Tourism is here to support, the hotels, the transportation industry. Many industries are represented in this room, and so we're very happy with the response.
While this is a Port Authority initiative, Sweeting says Grand Bahamians must realize that this is a community effort.
It's a collaborative effort. This is something that we all need to work on. We all need to take responsibility for. This is My Grand Bahama, and that is what this campaign is about, taking that ownership and realizing that we all have a role to play in ensuring that Grand Bahama is as successful as it can be.
Keynote speaker for the event was Principal of VKR Insights, Valdez Russell. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Now to news from the court. 42-year-old Carlton Simonet of Pioneers Way arraigned before the court today for a total of 23 counts of stealing from a vehicle. He appeared before Deputy Chief Magistrate Debbie Ferguson on 8 of those counts. He pled guilty, was convicted and sentenced to 17 months at the Bahamas Department of Corrections and fined $1,550 or in default spend an additional 33 months behind bars. Simonet was also arraigned before Magistrate Charlton Smith on 7 counts of stealing from a vehicle. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 3 months behind bars. The sentence is to run concurrently. He was also charged before Reagan Johnson on 8 counts of stealing from a vehicle. He pled guilty and was sentenced to 3 years and 6 months at the Department of Corrections. Now those sentences will run concurrently. Stay with us, there's more news right after this.